Today's video is brought to you by Consumer Integrity, because after what has transpired in a little over 2 weeks, gaming journalists have said that they don't need you, that they're declaring gamers dead, that you don't have to even be the target audience. Why give them any respect or money by clicking on their articles if they don't respect you? It's common sense. Show their higher-ups and advertisers you will not stand for this degrading treatment by so-called professionals in an industry you helped flourish. In the previous 2 weeks, or a little bit after that, we've seen the lies, the manipulation. We've seen people get doxed. We've seen others dox themselves for sympathy. We've seen death threats. We've seen rape threats. And not just towards women. No. Towards men as well. Male journalists. That's right. But for some reason that hasn't been reported. Okay? We've seen journalists call gamers terrorists. That's right. Some said they respect terrorists even more than gamers. This is from journalists. Yes, gaming journalists. Then we've had gaming journalists compare us to Holocaust deniers. That's right. We've had journalists say that all men should be killed because they play video games. How sad. That's right. An entire gender should be wiped out because they play video games. And I'm going to show you all of this today. That's right. But first, I need to talk about roughly the 98% of the YouTube gaming community. Okay? Where are you on this? I don't understand. All you self-proclaimed kings and mavericks and Billy badasses, yet you're too afraid to step up and speak on a serious issue. I'm waiting for you to flex your muscle. I'm waiting for you to see what you got. Why are you so afraid? Are you afraid if you say something wrong that you're going to lose views or subs or monetization, or maybe a sponsor will drop you, or you're going to get blacklisted or something because you actually tried to speak up in behalf of the very same community that made you? I'm wondering. I think it's pretty sad that we are seeing so many of our big influential YouTubers stay silent. When push comes to shove, like I said before, you will see who will put their neck out for you, community. Because I told you before, being a gamer is not just about, oh, I play video games, therefore you should like me. No. It's more than that. The very same things that we are seeing today, the way gamers are being grossly stereotyped and attacked, are exactly what happened back in the day when we got to the arcades. When gamers didn't fit the popular status quo, we went to the arcades and became our own culture. No matter, man, woman, none of that mattered. Race, creed, ethnicity, none of it mattered. We learned from each other. You never heard in an arcade, I'm a woman, I'm being oppressed by the patriarchy. Never. You never heard guys troll each other like they do online at arcades. Because everyone's face-to-face, everyone's playing games, everyone's high-fiving and having a good time. And if you stop playing video games, possibly you wouldn't play some skee-ball. Possibly you wouldn't play some pinball or something. Or maybe the little, crane, game. Little metal crane that drops down and tries to grab prizes. You have to understand that our community has changed drastically. However, we never had these problems then. And even back in the 8-bit era, or Nintendos, or even further than that. You couldn't tell who was black, white, man, or woman. You couldn't tell. But now that, everything's realistic and graphically, everybody wants to be represented appropriately. And I understand that. But you also have to understand that these are still games. And to think that somebody is being oppressed, and we will talk about that later, is absolutely ridiculous. The smokescreen has to stop. But YouTubers, I know you're probably already saying, well, there are some big YouTubers stepping up and saying stuff. Total Biscuit stepped up and said something. Yes, he did. Indeed, he did. You see, someone going to say Boogie stepped up. And you know what? I've been saying for a while now that Boogie has hurt this community more than he has helped. You have to understand his video that he did on Zoe Quinn and the situation in general. All right, he had his opinion piece. And then immediately afterwards apologized to his buddies at Kotaku because, can't mess up those handouts. Can't hurt those connections. Apparently, you cannot have your own opinion unless someone's going to get mad. Apparently, he's forgotten exactly. Oh, wait. He hasn't forgotten what this is about because he never really cared. This was always about fame for him. and attention. Where, most of us, this was about getting on here and saying something because we cared about video games. Seriously, I don't understand how you can sit here and back a guy and champion a guy, and I'll put it like this, trigger warning, Anita trigger warning. How can you champion a guy doing this? And that's the guy you want to champion. Look, understand this, alright? This guy has stereotyped gamers a lot of times, alright? Breaking things for attention, seriously. Doing stunts like that for attention. You have to understand there's also a guy who wouldn't even put links in the info bar to keep his viewers informed. That's right. In 2014, we still have this going. You've got to be kidding me. And his excuse was, well, if gamers really wanted to know, what I was saying, they could research it themselves. So you could do the research even though you brought up the topic. You couldn't copy and paste that into the info bar? You're really going to sit here and tell me you couldn't do that? And the thing is, Gaming Anarchist, he made a video on this. Because seriously, that is doing a disservice to your fan base and to the community at large. So as far as I'm concerned, this guy has lost his chance for credibility. Boogie, do yourself a favor and get yourself together, as far as I'm concerned. And I put it like this, any of your fans of his that are going to come in here today and say, oh, you're attacking Boogie, blah, 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 understand this. I'm not attacking him, I'm telling you the truth. This is what's going on. You don't see me yelling at him. You don't see me cursing him out. You don't see me calling him any names. Hell, I'm not even mad right now. This is what happens when you need to have adult conversation. And if you go on with, oh, well, you're just upset that he has more subs or views, even though I'm telling you this is adult conversation, more subs, more views, more likes or whatever, if that's going to be your excuse, then you are proving to them that you are too immature to handle adult conversation. You are giving them ammo. You are giving them leverage. Speaking of leverage, because that's what this has come to, all right? Developers and publishers, that's right, have now, since this has been going on, have now decided to make a petition. That's right. Make a petition, sign a petition that they want to end online harassment. And then Boogie countered by trying to make his own petition, trying to end hate and harassment. Now, while many of you may see that these are people who have their hearts in the right places, I see it as trendy opportunism. Why? Are we supposed to forget just a couple weeks ago when the Ferguson thing was big, that gaming journalists tried to exploit the issue and tried to tie it to video games? We saw that, all right? They tried to put it with, was it Battlefield Hardline, and they tried to put it with Watch Dogs, and they tried to connect it so that they can get hits and views, okay? This Zoe Quinn issue, all of a sudden, when this happened, they tried to say, oh, it's a gender problem in gaming, which we know is a lie because for those who don't know, women, adult women, outnumber teenage boys who play video games. That's right. I will put the link in the info bar for that. I just want somebody with half a brain, just half a brain, to tell me why you would think that signing a petition, sitting on your ass, and signing a petition, which is the bare minimum effort, is going to stop. I'm just asking, how do you think this is going to stop the manipulative nature of people online? I mean, let's be honest here, people. Online harassment has been going on for years. And they waited until now, to sign a petition, to get together and, create a petition and sign it. They waited till now. Opportunism. And here's the thing about the article on that, okay? The writer, who is an ex-Polygon writer, glosses over the fact that, developers and publishers also dished their own dirt, threw dirt at gamers as well, and contributed towards this hate. That's right, glossed over that, because now it's just all, it's all gamers, they're bad, they're evil, that's what it is. However, they never, and I mean never, looked at the other side of the fence and covered what other people witnessed. Just a little transparency, please. Because all you're doing is giving the illusion that you care, and we see right through that. See, and I want to talk about caring, because we have to talk about this. Alright, because for those who don't know, last week, Anita Sarkeesian received death threats, because, there's no other YouTuber in the history of our gaming community has received death threats before Anita Sarkeesian, right? Gaming journalists, multiple sites, went to it, wrote articles about it. However, they ignored male gaming journalists, that's right, who were receiving death threats. So where's that journalist article? Why haven't you reported, why hasn't multiple sites reported his? Matter of fact, where are all the other YouTubers? Where are their articles at, when they've received, death threats? I'm just wondering, gaming media. Seriously. Because what you're doing is, I understand that you are buddy-buddy with Anita Sarkeesian. We have seen this, okay? But don't sit here and tell me that when you're focusing on Anita Sarkeesian and saying that all death threats should be taken seriously, but you don't report others, you know what that does? You minimize others' existence and others' experience on the issue. Especially if you're going to sit here around here and tote that all death threats should be taken seriously. Because if you really believe that, then you would have reported that. And if you don't believe that, then Anita Sarkeesian's death threats should have never been reported by multiple gaming websites. That's systematic theology. But you know what? Let's see what Anita had to say on her Twitter about her brush with death threats. Anita said on Twitter when this first happened that she was so afraid of her life that she left her house or apartment to go spend the night at a friend's house. Okay? Now here's the problem I have with this. If a death threat has shaken you so much to leave your place of comfort, why didn't you go to the police station? All we keep hearing is how you're calling and contacting the cops and what they're saying, but you didn't physically go down to the police station and file a report. And I put it like this because that's what I'm waiting for. This has been quite a couple days now this has happened. Where is the police report? Because they would have told you, and for those who don't know, Anita showed the death threats on Twitter. If you would have filed a police report, went down to the police station, they would have told you, do not show any evidence publicly. They would have said that to you. And yet, this is what you did. So I'm trying to figure out if there is a police report, because for those who don't know, police reports are public domain, no matter if it's pending or if they're closed. They're public domain. So we would have saw something by now. This is why it's hard for me to believe her. And I'll put it like this. There's a link in the info bar for those who think, because there's some who actually think that Anita faked this herself. Now, I'm not saying that she did or not. All right? I'm just putting it in the info bar to let you be the judge. But understand, if you're going to go to the law, because I'm not trying to hear you're just calling. If you're that terrified, you're not just calling the police. You're going down to the station. I'm not trying to hear that. But it seems now she wants to use the word terrorism. And we have to talk about this, all right? Because now since she's used the word terrorism, the trendy mob has now generalized all gamers, that's right, as terrorists. Matter of fact, even other gaming journalists that are buddy-buddy with her have taken it to another extent, taken it further, has raised the bar and said that he respects terrorists more than gamers. So you respect people who kill, who behead others, who ruin other people's lives severely, who kill people in masses, innocent people. You respect them more than people who have a difference of opinion on video games. Seriously. And you call yourself a professional. You call yourself an adult. You call yourself helping the cause. Really, huh? And that's not all. Because then he goes and says, pretty much compares gamers to Holocaust deniers. So now I think it's time that we do a checklist of what the gaming media has perpetuated, gamers over the years, or what they are, okay? First, we were nerds, then we were dorks, then we were geeks, and it's kind of funny because while they're calling us this and insulting us, understand that they go to these, they have these conventions, get your geek on and Geek Fest and all this, and they love this stuff, all right? But they want to insult you with it first, and now they want to use it because good for advertising, okay? That's not all. Then they called us killers. Then they called us rapists. Then they called us entitled. Then they called us the vocal minority. Then they called us mentally ill. Then they called us sheep. Then they called us trolls. Then they called us man-children. Now they want to call us terrorists. Now they want to compare us to Holocaust deniers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your gaming media. Look, professionals, if you have to incite hate or say outlandish things in order to get clicks, views, and get any type of attention to stay relevant, you are part of the problem and not part of the solution. Just saying. Okay? And for those, if you really think that gamers are this bad, that we're such bad, evil people, then why is it okay for Helena Horton to come out and say that all men deserve to be killed over video games, over GamerGate? Now, for those who do not know who Helena Horton is, she is currently working over at AMP 3D. She's written for Vice, Guardian, Mirror, Indie, Gay Times, etc. And Helena Horton says that hashtag GamerGate is a prime example of why we need to hashtag kill all men. So an entire gender should be wiped out because there's a disagreement in transparency in journalism. Yeah, real classy. She does realize that, you know, you can't say things like that and be a professional, right? I mean, she does have a father, right? See, this is what really bothers me, because I recognize this as coward talk. Because she says, you know, we need to kill all men. No, don't drag others into it. You do it. You start it. You set the bar. You be proactive. Alright? I would love to see you go out with your bare hands and go kill a man. Because this is what you believe. See, we know that's not going to happen, though. Because you're not going to do something like that. It's coward talk. So do yourself a favor, stay in your little bubble, and project to the internet what you think should happen. And this is what I don't understand. Why are professionals able to say this without any consequence? Because we have seen none whatsoever. See, in the real world, I understand that this is the internet and people, you know, they blog or whatever, but in the real world, you would be fired for saying such a thing. Employers would not put up with this. You know that, right? I'm really hoping that people see the difference, because if you really think that you can say these type of things and in a workplace and say that all men deserve to die, you do realize that you're talking about killing a lot of people. And if anybody took that seriously and said that's a death threat and reported you, do you understand how much of a threat to society you would become? They would actually investigate you if somebody reported you. But as we know, opinions. But when you have influence like Helena Horton does, you have to hold her accountable, because then it influences idiocy like this. Where's the maturity at? Because all that does is fan the flames and keeps it going. I thought women were supposed to be more mature than men. See? And when this all starts to snowball, you have to understand that other feminists who are speaking logically on this issue are getting ignored because of the hate that these journalists have incited. And that very same hate, that anger, is also being justified by Anita's fans, who think it's okay to dox and threaten to kill a 10-year-old boy because he had a difference of opinion on the issue. Not only that, but when people are trying to talk to others and tell them this entire Zoe Quinn issue is not about her sleeping with 5 guys. And for those who have not seen the specific video, I will put it in the info bar, alright? People in the industry are now coming out and revealing information that she didn't just sleep with 5 guys. No, she slept with women, PR people, trying to get into the industry. This goes deeper down the rabbit hole than you think. I'm telling you, you have to. I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see it, okay? And you can judge for yourself. But when he is trying to explain these things about how it's not just about sleeping with people just because she's sleeping with people for personal preference, he's told to get murdered. How is taking the same attitude that others are displaying going to solve anything? That's not progressive. Not at all. Matter of fact, feminists are now saying that women who support gamers or are in gaming that you are garbage. That's right. So now women are disrespecting their own gender. Not once, within all these articles that have come out as of late, have we seen journalists call for bridging the gap. No. We haven't seen them call for any type of roundtable discussion, no type of calm debate. We haven't seen them ask for serious airtime to talk with companies on online harassment. Instead, they chose to promote hate for views. That's what they did with their opportunities. They squandered it. And because of that, now you have people saying, if you even consider yourself a gamer, you're a pathetic human being. Because clearly, loving your hobby, like any other hobby in this world, makes you a pathetic human being. Really, that's what you want to hang your hat on. Really. And you know what? This is all due to the illusion that this was about gender. When we know this was about journalism, no matter man or woman, having transparency with their consumers. Gamers were fed up with it. We saw it in the past with, journalists taking, handouts to review games. We've seen review embargoes. We've seen these type of things over and over. But now it's gotten to a point where consumers are upset, and they have every right to be, especially for how much money is spent in this industry now. But let's not forget, we have also celebrities, other people from other forms of entertainment coming out and defending Anita as well. One, Joss Whedon says that she's absolutely right, and I defend her, even though Anita Sarkeesian is telling you male gamers that you need to check your privilege at the door. I would love for Anita Sarkeesian and Joss Whedon and anyone else who supports Anita Sarkeesian, whether it's here on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever. I would love for you to tell me about my black male privilege. I would love to hear that. I would go pop popcorn for that one. I would love to hear that. But I won't hold my breath. The fact is, in conclusion, people, you have to understand that there are people, since that graphic I showed in the beginning, because I put it up, during the weekend, before I decided to do this video. And people were quite upset saying, it's extreme that you want us to do this event. First off, I didn't come up with it, all right? But I feel as though, as a cohesive unit, we could be more effective. I'm just along with the ride, and I'm just spreading information. But it's extreme to do it. Really? It's extreme. So it's extreme not to go to a website? That's extreme. It's extreme not to click on baiting articles? That's extreme? Are you listening to what you're saying to yourself? If you think not going to a website on the internet is extreme, then you obviously have self-control issues. You have to be kidding me. And journalists, you have to also understand that you hold a responsibility. You also have to understand that the consumers do hold responsibility as well. Now, I'm not saying that both sides aren't wrong here. We've seen extreme sides, both extreme sides in this case, and it's pretty pathetic, all right? But the trolling that happens, you have to understand people are trolling Anita and everyone else. You're giving them that ammo. This is what they make their money off of. If you prove them wrong by not trolling them, by not caring, by not watching, by not clicking, by not thumbing up things, by not liking, by not following them, you understand you hold power. Journalists have to understand that if their consumers do not respect them, then the industry itself doesn't have to worry. They don't have to worry about putting out that money for that, that review embargo. They don't have to worry about, working that hard and worrying about your score or checking Metacritic and all that stuff. You understand it, right? When you make the consumers happy, it should be an even-handed relationship, but as we see now, it is definitely in their favor. And then when you question them, they tell you, know your place. Even though you're the people who buy the products. You have the final say. I just find it funny that within all this, and other people have asked me, how long will this last? It will last as long as you let it go. Like I said, if they figure it out that, hey, wait a minute, no one really cares anymore about what I'm saying about this issue, they'll stop talking about it. But you have to show them. You can't just say, oh, I disagree with you, or you're a troll. No. That doesn't help any. Show them by saying, hey, look, I'm not even going to bother with it. I'm going to walk away from you. That's what you got to do. Because that sends the message. Like I said, those clicks, those views, and all that stuff, that adds up in their advertising. Those advertisers will get pissed off. Like I said, they say that shit rolls downhill, okay, in business. Which means that when something like this happens, higher-ups need to be held accountable, not just the people that are involved. Because there are their managers. There are their bosses. Advertisers will get pissed off real quick. Especially if they'll say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Yep. They'll get very mad. That's the way you get to them. Not harassing them online, not trolling them in their videos, or trolling them on Twitter, or on their Facebook, or wherever, on Reddit, wherever. That doesn't solve anything. Like I said, that just gives them more fire so that they can stay relevant. But it seems like these days, that's what happens. Like I said, it'll keep going as long as you let the illusion to keep going.